On the road in enemy territory, our Kent State Golden Flashes head down to Florida State to face the Seminoles in a battle of two of the worst teams from last year, but who knows with Florida State, as they are at least 20 overall higher across the board than our Kent State Golden Flashes. But just because we're lower overall doesn't mean we don't know how to score, as we put up 45 on the Buffalo Bulls last week with a new look offense, a pistol option look that brought a little bit of wing T, but a whole lot of spreading talent across the board. And that saw our offense skyrocket, being one of the best in all of college football last week. But now we turn that to Florida State, who is playing their third game today. And they opened up a close one against Alabama, though dropped it in the fourth, 34-31. They then got to catch their groove against the FCS Midwest, 42-7. The biggest thing for Florida State is they have a new quarterback back there in Tommy Castellanos, someone to keep an eye on. So far this year, 3 touchdowns, just under 600 yards passing. And he has done a little bit of scrambling, 40 yards for 1 more touchdown. They already have 3 players over 100 receiving, but they will be missing Squirrel White, their elusive route runner. He unfortunately dislocated his ankle early this season and will miss the next 6 weeks. Now for our team, who didn't see any changes, we might see total changes as we install some new sliders. By the time I record this, Matt 10 has come out with his version 1 for both Heisman and All-American. By the time you are watching this, he should have come out with his second version, and we will update as we go. But I'm not going to spend much time on these, as they are not my sliders, they are Matt 10, so make sure you go show him some love and put these in your game. We'll look to test them out, as we are very much in enemy territory. The crowd is loud as we look to get this game underway down in Florida. And it will be returned from inside their own goal line and taken down at the 17. Coach Ty Rozeboom on the biggest stage so far as a head coach. The biggest thing that it's going to come down to here for his defense is making sure you get off the field on third downs. Cannot afford to let Florida State keep these drives alive with a RPO that loses 3, play 1. Gissendaner with a quick tackle. It's 2nd and 13 with motion across, and that one's going nowhere. Syed Abu Hamdi picks up the TFL. And that has the Flashes right where they want them, a 3rd and long. As I go back to the RPO, it'll be a net gain of -7 for Florida State's first drive. With how rough things were for them last year, not a promising start. As the offense heads out, a new look last week, and it showed dominance. Can they keep that up against higher competition? Garcia near 200 yards. And it's going to be DeShields on the keeper this time, nearly backpedaling his way out of the tackle. He looked pretty good last week as well. It's 2nd and 4 as that clock is running down here. It's Garcia looking for a slip back lane. He'll only end up finding a short gain, about 2, leaves 3rd and 2. DeShields trying to get them ready, and Griffin moves early with the crowd noise getting to his head. This really is the first time this team is going to see this year. It is loud here. 14th highest crowd noise in the country. But DeShields is ready. He finds Barry to convert on 3rd down. That quick pass game looked very clean last week. Also saw some down the field passing as well from this bunch. 1st and 10, and they get that ball snapped. Coming across, a little high. They find Martin. He had 3 touchdown grabs last week, a gain of 4 there on 1st down. Leaves 2nd and 6. As they hand it off, it's Garcia following behind the Hog Maulers. He's got himself another short gain, leaving a 3rd and 4. Ace pistol set. Snapping that ball, throwing quick underneath. That's going to be Martin for another 1st down, Kent State. Florida State just sitting back a little too deep. 1st and 10 as they bring out all the different backs, all with their hands down in that turf and some early movement. It looks like the right guard shifts. There wasn't a hard count out there. Perhaps it's just a little bit of some nerves. Either way, it's a loss of 5, and Garcia comes out at the quarterback spot. Newman in motion. Garcia looks to keep it, but he's contained and will lose 6 more. James Williams with the stop. That's a play Florida State needed big. 2nd and 21, bunch right-hand side. They snap that ball. Coming across, there's Martin with space on the outside. He's by the 20, 15, a first down and out at the 12. Another big conversion, Kent State, and shout out to the group of students who traveled all the way down here. Keeping this one to Shields, flips it to the outside, and Garcia's taken down at the line. A good float that time from Florida State. This offense is now on tape, so we'll see how it ends up performing here today. As they flip it inside, it's to Harris. Not able to pick up much of anything. In fact, he rolls over Owen Griffin, who's shaken up on the play. Once again, you're going to have to hope that your offense can find the big play here to convert. It's 3rd and 11. You're down at the 14. Bunch right-hand side. And another high pass. That's out of Barry's hands. A great job from Graham. He's able to swat it away. 4th and 11. Bring out the field goal unit here, trying to get some points to end your first drive, and it's smack dab down the middle. Kent State opens up a 3-point lead here down in Tallahassee. We'll see if the Florida State offense can do anything more this time. They lost 7 yards in total last time, snagging that one behind him. That's LaWayne McCoy, number 7 of the Seminoles. He picks up 4 in what should be the final play here of the first quarter. Throwing outside, and it's going to be picked off by Amuhamde to end the quarter. That one was a telegraph throw through and through. And it is 3-0 as we will take over to start the second quarter well inside plus range. All in all, it's a quarter you can't be all too upset about. Starting at the 33, DeShields and the offense out there. As they're going to look to set up an option play here. Flipping it out, it's to Garcia, and he's going to pick up 7. He had 2 touchdowns on that same play last week against the Buffalo Bulls. A 2nd and 3 here. As he's getting that handoff with nowhere to go, he loses all that yards plus an extra. Some of these different plays not exactly opening up the way you would like to see. It's 3rd and 11. As they look to get that ball snapped, there's a whole lot of pre-snap movement. This might be the 3rd penalty for Kent State pre-snap. So clearly that crowd noise is having an effect on this team. You don't really see this much down in the MAC. Play action, and DeShields dropped immediately off that play fake. After the pick, they'll have to punt. So the defense is definitely settling on in here after the field goal, the first drive for Kent State. Florida State hands off here, but nowhere to go. Maddox, the big old DT, gets the stop there. He had multiple sacks last week, a 2nd and 10 here. As even Florida State struggling with the own noise inside their own building. Keeper here from Castellanos, and he's got 2. However, it will be another 3rd and long here for the Florida State Seminoles. They need 8 for the first down. Empty set. Trips right-hand side. And going downfield, it's going to be one-on-one. Tipped up and eventually hits that turf. That'll be another punt. For Coach Ty, it's your 2nd straight drive here. Starting plus side, you got to come away with points here. To be the 42. It's Garcia trying to find some space, and he's picked up. Ultimately, that probably actually helps him gain a few more yards. With Barry into the backfield, looks like they're getting motion all the way across. Down to 3 seconds, 2, 1. They do not snap it in time. We're definitely seeing a lot of mental errors coming here from this young group against their toughest competition so far this year, and that one's thrown out just in front of a sack. Once again, you're facing a 3rd and long after starting plus side. 2 receivers go spread right side, 1 to the left. It's play action. And again, that one's thrown, and it's off the top of a helmet, nearly picked off by a defensive lineman. Ultimately, neither offense able to really move the ball out the gate here. Kent State had that first drive that went for 3. No one's moved since. Florida State, though, they pick up the blocks down the middle, and Williams picks up a good run. First big play there for the Seminole offense. As I'm going hurry up here, 2 spread to the left-hand side, 1 to the right. As they go back to Williams, he's met in the gap and dumped. A great response there from the Rozeboom defense. It's 2nd and 10. As they look to go back to the run game here, pulling guard in the spin move, and it's going to be another first down scamper by Williams. If not for that spin move, it might have been another 0 gain. 1st and 10. Kent State brings the blitz. The pass is out to their tight end. Fighting for that first down, but short. With 2nd and inches, they got the fullback behind the line to the left-hand side. Williams back in shotgun. They go to the air to Williams, and he will have just enough. First down Seminoles as we are flying through this game here as both offenses seemingly going hurry up, and there's the deep ball, and tripping, unable to catch their feet and catch up to the receiver. Florida State takes the lead as Blackwell gets the deep ball from Castellanos. Kent State has given up one of those per game this season. With the lead now in the hands of the home team, and Florida State with a little bit of some momentum. The Kent State offense respond. Newman in the backfield with motion all the way across. That's going to be Etheridge. Snapping that ball, 6 seconds on the play clock, and Newman eventually finds some space. I'll end up going as a short gain of 4. As we're inside 2 minutes, you're going to need to pick up a little bit bigger chunks here. Swing pass out to Newman, who loses a yard on the play, and Florida State calls their timeout. It'll be 3rd and 7, back at the 28. Corners playing off coverage. Single high safety in motion right-hand side. Short is Etheridge. They throw his way, and he'll hold on across the middle. First down for Kent State as they look to go hurry up from there. Getting them set up here is going to be DeShields. Defense changes up their look. They now have 2 deep safeties. And a check down over the top of a blitzing linebacker. They do find Bailey, the fullback. Not going to be that much of a big gain, but keeping with the hurry up. As the corners back way off the line, they're standing at about the line to gain. Play action, and to the outside, finding Martin, who turns up the sideline instead of going out of bounds, but around field goal range. A great throw there from DeShields as well. Down to the 34, you probably want to be around the 30 for that field goal range, but now you start to wonder touchdown possibilities. As that one comes in high, it's broken up, and a flag down. You got Griffin picking himself up off the floor, gets called with a holding. I think he might have tripped and grabbed a jersey. So 1st and 20, you're now outside of field goal range. As they go back across the middle, back to Etheridge. He picks up 8. And it'll be hurry up from there. DeShields once again looks to get them set as we tick around 30 seconds left here in the quarter. Throw left side is high, but it is through Martin's hands. That would have been a great grab if he was able to squeeze it. Now 3rd and 12. Hard count, and there's some movement. It looks to be Garcia in the backfield. Another mental error here for this Kent State offense. 3rd and now 17. Very much outside of field goal range. They try to hard count again. Not going to work. DeShields looks to get them set up as they snap that ball. Throwing this one outside. It's off the hands of Barry. Worried about Gresham. And after all that, they will have to punt. Overall, a really good opening drive here from Kent State, but they haven't quite been able to follow through. With 16 seconds to go before the half, they hand it off, and that should take us to the break. All in all, can't be too unhappy with that first half of play. It's gone quick. You could tell that Coach Ty really doesn't want Florida State to have much time of possession. In fact, Kent State in charge of that. But the running game has negative yards, and that is where the offense thrived last week. So they'll look to try to get that going here in the second half. Meanwhile, their defense did pretty well against the Florida State offense. Only one real big play, and it was that Blackwell touchdown strike going down the right sideline. Clean up some of that down the field play. Your defense is in a good spot. You just got to hope your offense can find something to get them in the end zone. Drew DeShields, he's going to be the man that's going to have to lead the charge, and perhaps Martin will be their threat downfield. As we look to get The second half underway. It will be Kent State ball starting at the 30-yard line. Garcia to the left. It's Bailey in the backfield. And they will flip it out to Garcia just in time, who can't put on the spin move. Florida State, they've got speed, they've got power, and right now it is overshadowing that option attack. Looking to throw this one under pressure again. It falters to the ground. Florida State, they're bringing that pressure. It's a whole different game than the MAC. 3rd and 12, hard count. No one jumps here for DeShields as he eyes over the defense yet again. Snapping that ball, and under pressure, the DT picks up the sack. It's Darrell Jackson Jr. and another punt for Kent State. This is going to be the first time, though, that they actually have to punt from backed up themselves. This one traveling back and will be caught around the 35 with space on the outside. It's going to be Webster putting a spin move on and finally taken down by Williams around the 25. A punt return basically flips the field, and it will be a short field for Florida State. As they look to get Williams outside, Campbell chases him down. He took home the MAC Defensive Player of the Week last week with his tackle for losses. 2nd and 13, and Williams looking for that cutback. Williams is there to slow him down. Now it's going to be the Golden Flash defense trying to pick up that stop and force a field goal attempt. For the 3rd and 8. Play clock down inside 5 before they finally snap it. Throwing deep, and Rollison is in a good spot. Ball does hit the turf, so he was able to punch it free. Looked like they might have caught it. But it's actually going to be a holding on the play as well. Well, you would consider just declining and forcing that field goal, but they actually did call that a touchdown. Ball definitely looked like it was on the ground, but apparently he held on to it long enough. So 3rd and 18. And there's some issues happening downfield. Penalty on the ground. Looked like Williams was stuck behind a receiver who tried to set up a pick play for the receiver on the outside. So instead, they get a defensive holding. And it's going to be a free first down here for Florida State. A massive switch, as it looked like Kent State had the stop that they were looking for. That's really just goes to show how quickly these games can flip for you or against you. 2nd and 4. It's handing off to Williams on the outside and dropped by Young. He's been a highly efficient player here for this defense and potentially could be looking to make his way up to a Power 4 group next year. 3rd and 5, it's RPO, and no one's on the outside as they sent the blitz. First down, Florida State. Defense definitely caught being aggressive there. It's 1st and goal, and Williams with a great block and spin move combo. And that will open up this game here for Florida State. They go up 2 possessions as Kent State has struggled to move the ball outside their first drive. And that's just how important it is going from forcing that field goal to giving up that first down with the penalty. 14-3, Kent State's offense on the field. Throwing, it's to Martin Quick, finding a gain of 6 as they look to go hurry up from there. We'll see if this actually helps their offense move that ball. Bunch to the right-hand side. Garcia looks to find a carry here. Jackson takes him down. Florida State has another chance to get off the field here quickly with a 3rd and 1. Looks like they're trying to flip things, though. Getting set. DeShields trying to snap that ball, but no one snaps it. In fact, half the offensive line moves, and it's going to be another 3rd and medium. Self-inflicted wound after self-inflicted wound. It's now 3rd and 7. The tight pistol set here for DeShields, who had a receiver open for a second. Etheridge gets the grab, but the refs give him no forward progress. DeShields obviously furious about that. Offense stays on the field. You're at your own 31 here. It's the goal line set. And Newbin is stuffed by Jackson. It's a turnover on downs. And Florida State takes the field inside the 30. A risky move there. The run game really hasn't worked out, but you brought out your power group trying to get the job done. And it's open here for Webster. Down to the 14. This is really where Florida State can open this game up. With about a minute to go here in the 3rd quarter. And cutting to the left, a big tackle there is Kaysen. Once again, a chance here. If you could get a couple stops in a row to force that field goal, far better than giving up that touchdown. 2nd and 9. Throwing right side and short of the line to gain. Honestly, not as short as you maybe thought originally. A little bit more favorable calls here, but Florida State elects not to snap that ball and sends us to the break. Fourth quarter has arrived as we got 4 players out on the field. A great little look there, a little quarter halftime show of no one dancing. But the time of possession has almost leveled entirely here as Florida State has taken control. As we get the fourth quarter underway, it's gonna be a touchdown. Williams had Williams in the gap, but the shimmy sends him on by, and it makes it 21-3 here, Florida State. And as many touchdowns as Kent State has points. And with the offense struggling for Kent State in this one, and just mental woes and pass blocking, how do you get yourselves back into this game? Well, it's not with giving up yet another sack to Darrell Jackson. The Shield's getting beaten up out there because his line can't block. When they finally get a good down and distance, they're jumping off sides. Looking for a quick pass here across the middle. That's going to be Etheridge. So far been his biggest game in terms of his receptions out there, total number, but a 3rd and 8. They snap that ball, and under pressure again, that ball will hit the turf as they might be forced to punt here depending on this penalty. And with yet another holding call, it's definitely not going to help us out, but it's declined by Florida State. So a 4th and 8, the offense stays on the field. If you want to get into this game, you got to move that ball. Hard count doesn't work out that time. Double move and through the hands of Barry. That'll be another turnover on downs plus side for Florida State. As they look to keep this one, Castellanos with great blocking. One defender to beat and will not get by Irwin. I think even with this defense where we're at right now, keeping Florida State to 4 touchdowns potentially in this game would be massive for a spin move, not going to pay off that time. Cam Davis with the carry as Williams got a breather out here for 2nd and goal at the 1. As they flip it to him on the outside and pushed into the end zone by Maddox. It will be 4 touchdowns on the day for Florida State as they take a stranglehold here on the Golden Flashes. Well, as the Kent State offense does hit the field, it's now Newman in the backfield at quarterback. You're going to see Tomlinson, backup quarterback, all the way to the left-hand side. Coach Ty did say he's going to rest Garcia and DeShields for the remainder of this one as Newman breaks off a strong run here. Gain of 8. That might just have them close to a 0 on the rushing yards in this one. Tomlinson under center, gets motion right-hand side. Taking it down the middle and tackled before he could try to hand it off. It looked like to Etheridge. Even with Florida State's struggles last year, you could still tell there is a far difference in level of talent between these two teams. 3rd and 8, Tomlinson, he snaps that ball. Throwing across the middle and in between 2 different receivers, it does hit the turf. And with yet another punt forced in this one, you got to hope now that your defense can get a stop just to keep it to 4 touchdowns in this one. Good snag, though, from 7. He's shown good hands throughout this game. A couple snatches out of the air just like that one. They go back his way this time on the outside. It's a big hit, Rollison. That time he flattened the man just in front of the line to gain. It's 3rd and a millimeter at the most. Castellanos gets them set. Campbell with the pressure. Can't get the sack. Carroll can't bring him down either. He slips both edge rushers and picks up a big gain. Well, I would like to say that really embodies how this game has gone. We really haven't been that close at making these big plays. We had the one good drive offensively. Florida State has done far better, though, in this second half, both on offense and defense, clearing the way for Williams. That has him just over 60 yards on the day, but with a lot of short fields, you're not going to really rack up massive rushing yards here. That one's too high. And that's good because Boma definitely did not have the positioning needed to make a play on that ball. 2nd and 10. They look to set up a screen to the left-hand side. Slip in one and finally pushed out by Irvin. Will end up being another 3rd down here for Florida State, going spread empty. Trips right-hand side, 2 to the left. Bring that blitz, and that one's out and broken up Young. He really is the highlight of this defensive bunch, hoping he ends up sticking around as field goal unit comes out for the Seminoles. That one is down the middle. They'll tack on 3 more. And now leaving just about 2 minutes to play with. We'll see if Tomlinson can get their offense moving. Did hear a little bit more from Coach Ty when he pulled a couple of his starters out there, and that really was just due to wear and tear purposes. Bailey with a quick grab, but it looks like there was a quicker grab along the offensive line. Junior Diallo once again caught with a penalty. He's been healthier in this game, hasn't left the field due to injury, but he's cost us plenty of yardage. Throwing this one out, Barry finally holds on to a high point, and another flag down, this time coming from the opposite tackle spot. And before coming into this game, Kent State was pretty well behaved, not a whole lot of penalties. Seeing a lot in this one as Tomlinson gets rid of that one high, and a very unnecessary hit. Martin ended up getting taken to the ground as that ball sailed over his head. No penalty, though. Not that Florida State has really gotten many as they pick up the safety to end this game. Florida State, while they were a little slow in the first quarter, they really turned things on and put up 19 points there in the fourth to really put this game away. And that came with Williams really picking up his pace. The defense of Florida State outside of that, again, first drive for Kent State, dominated through and through. There was no running. There was no time to pass the ball. And for Kent State, they really put themselves in an early hole and continued digging with all those penalties. And unfortunately, that game did seem to reverse some of the good work we were doing in trying to keep some of these players around. A little bit of those oranges moving back up and some of those yellows going back into oranges. But that does take us to our first bye and gives us a chance to look at this team, see where we are, and try to make adjustments from there. And obviously this was our first game of the new slider set, and I think the play when it was just playing was pretty solid. But one thing to take a look at here, holding I believe was called way too often. It was starting to look like the Jacksonville Jaguars series out there. In this one, I think we're gonna make a slight adjustment. I'm gonna tone this down to 80. It's not anything against the MAT 10 sliders. I'm sure it probably works out a little bit smoother with better competition or a better team. We're going to tone it down and just see in general if we could have some smoother gameplay. I don't want to have penalties affect the gameplay too much while still having penalties occur. And if you are a lower tier team like we are, you probably should have more penalties. As for recruiting updates, Quincy Enunwa, we talked about him potentially being the replacement for Drew DeShields if he does decide to transfer after this year. We started going after him at the end of last episode, and we are in first place for him. We're not completely done scouting, but I feel like we have enough information that we could still look to bring him in. Even if he's not going to be the best thrower, he will probably be our best running option. We are starting to trail behind Jermaine Church. We don't really have an option to put in any more points, and our visit comes in the future, and I feel like he will make his decision most likely to go to Bowling Green after this week. So we may look to pull up off that one. We'll see if there's someone else we want to go after. As for Gio Irwin, we are now starting to see a hotter pursuit coming in from Bowling Green. So they seem to be our biggest competition. So why don't we then take off these options we have currently put in place and put a bit of a heavier toll onto it. We don't have good grades, so we really do have to go full send the house through and through. Now, BJ Blade, we are very much in a tough battle. We're making up some ground, but I believe that is Delaware who is currently on top. He's from Jersey, so probably be a little bit closer for him. We're making up some ground. We got that scheduled visit coming in, but it's going to be a hard work to get these guys in. We got to improve these grades, and to do that, we need to pick up some wins. One player that potentially could help us, and that would be at safety rather than at corner, is John Killebrew. Started going after him last week, and we have jumped to the top of his board. Looking to start doing a little bit more recruiting for the offensive side, I want to start scouting Fatele Timu, a 6'3", 185 receiver who's a contested specialist. And we dropped a lot of contested passes in this game. So let's spend a couple hours here doing some scouting. Initial look seems promising. Release might be a little low, the deep and medium route running low, but right now we're passing short across the middle. So have some speed, some spec catches at a good spot. Catching traffic isn't too bad. Speed comes in, however, at an 80. That is a little concerning. Well, how about a physical route runner then? We've got Kevin O'Kine, 6'1", 194, out of Haverton, I believe that's very much seems to be a worry. 57, catching traffic about 3/4 of the way up. Not exactly the best look. We do have one more option currently on our board in Armin Hay, a gadget receiver out of Huron, Ohio. So he's a little bit closer, 6'1", 185. We could look to spend one round of scouting on him. That catching is a large range, but does seem to be higher. Medium route running going to be a little bit lower. Short route running is lower. More of a down the field, perhaps speed type guy with a little bit of throw power mixed in there. So perhaps fling it out to him and see if he could do a double pass. That could be an option if we bring him in. Proximity to home is an A+. We got to go after guys like that, so we will offer a scholarship there, and that rounds out recruiting. As for taking a look at where we are right now, Drew DeShields through 4 games. He has 94 passing attempts, 605 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Did he have an interception in this game? I don't think he did, so I think he finally broke that stretch. But really just came with the fact that the offense wasn't able to really move the ball very much. Interception rate, that is something I didn't even notice we had here. So he's throwing an interception on about 3% of his passes, which I feel like is pretty solid. Running the ball, you got Garcia. Now these are going to be very much inflated from not today's game, but the previous game on Monday, with that near 200 yards rushing, which would equate for more than half of these. So we're still not getting as smooth of running going, but we've faced 2 lower tier teams and 2 higher tier teams. So not really our main MAC competition. Receiving, it's been pretty rough out there. Martin has shown better signs, I feel like, than Etheridge, who did get a bit banged up in that game. Barry, we've gone his way quite often. It seems to really be Martin or Barry. Azim hasn't been too bad. We're really spreading these balls around, though, and I would hope to see someone break out soon, or we will start to rotate these receivers. Blocking, now that's been really bad. Right tackle Griffin has given up a sack a game. Wish it counted pressures, obviously does not. And defensively, Rollison is leading us in tackles, which is a bit of a surprise, though he is typically around the ball whenever it is on the outside. We got Williams second behind, followed by Young. I believe if we could keep these 2 around for one more year, we might be able to build a solid enough defense. TFL leader is going to be Campbell. He's closing in on double digits there. Unfortunately, just not coming with many sacks. Maddox leads us with 3.5, 3 for Carroll. And interceptions, we have 1. And it came today in Syed Abu Hamde. But if there's one player who's been the most consistent, it's been the kicker, the senior in Will. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name. You let me know what it is in the comments below. Well, there's definitely some work for us to do, and next time it'll be still against tougher competition before we really get stuck in to MAC competition. And as we have OU coming up after our bye week, make sure you're here for it. Hit the bell icon on the bottom right or scroll down, tap that sub button, and definitely make sure you're hitting that bell icon so you're notified when all these videos go live. Back, as mentioned, at the start of this week, as we close this week, to the regular schedule. Monday and Friday college football. We got Tuesday and Thursday on MLB The Show and the Madden series with the Jacksonville Jaguars on Wednesdays. That one should be coming to a close soon, so make sure you're tuning in to see if they can also three-peat, just like we did with the Stanford Cardinal. But we'll see you next time as Coach Ty has OU, and hopefully we will finally see potential upset.